XRP holders, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. You guys know what time it is. We're going to be talking about everything XRP, understanding what's really happening, and of course, what we could be expecting as we go further into this upcoming week ahead of us. So obviously, we're still in a weekend. On the weekends, more manipulation than usual. Shout out to you guys, for tuning in on a regular day-to-day basis. If you really want to help out the channel, please pause the video and hit that red subscribe button, comment down below, and of course, like the video because it does go a long way. But anyhow, if you're looking across the board, we are seeing quite a bit of green. We are coming out of a little bit of a retracement over the last, 3 to 4 days. We did see a little bit of a, pullback, and that is due to the dominance picking up traction a little bit. But if you're looking at XRP right now, it is up about 0.8%. And even over the last 1 week, it is one of the very few coins that's still remaining in the green, with the price currently sitting at $2.40. And Bitcoin compared to pretty much break even. Valuation holding very strong at $140.3 billion in the 24-hour trading volume at about $2.1 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer. Anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So I want to start off with this. So 4 days ago, I asked you guys, the community members, we are almost halfway through quarter two. What coin are you most bullish on for this quarter? So 2,000 of you voted and 180 comments coming in. So, shout out to everyone, that took part of this. And again, if you don't want to miss any of these polls, hit that bell icon below and of course the subscribe button so you guys are notified every time I do these polls. So, shout out to everyone that voted. Out of these three options, you guys can see, obviously XRP came at the top. So, again, really gives you a little bit of an understanding as to, where people really think XRP is going this year. Speaking about, this year alone, look at, what Arthur Hayes says. Arthur Hayes reveals two major catalysts he says could launch Bitcoin to $1 million, while crypto analysts predict a 2017 style altcoin boom is around the corner. We're going to kind of touch base a little bit more on that. A lot of people have forgotten about the 2017 type of boom that we did see for altcoins later in that year, quarter four specifically. Shout out to my OGs. And, if you're looking at history right now, as far as, the Bitcoin power, charts go, history is repeating itself. So is it really going to repeat itself for an altcoin boom? We did see altcoins really showing, feeling the love over the course of the last, few weeks while the dominance was continuing to pull down. But I think, dominance needs to continue to pull down further where we do see that explosive move, that a lot of people are anticipating, with the insane amount of institutional demand that's coming in right now. Honestly, I'm not writing it off by any means. So you can see, mark your calendars. This Monday, May 19th, XRP futures will officially debut on Chicago Mercantile Exchange CME, one of the biggest derivatives market globally. Huge move here for XRP. And I think this is just the beginning. But CME, guys, being listed on CME, for XRP futures, this is a revolutionary moment that we have dreamed of, and the huge statement that digital assets are making across the financial industry. Speaking about cycles, Bitcoin power curve time. You can see, overlaying 4-year cycles, expecting a strong quarter three and quarter four. And, look at this, 2025 Bitcoin bull run is far from over. Faces will melt. And I personally project that too, because Bitcoin is pretty much on the neckline to hit towards an all-time high. When Bitcoin hits an all-time high, of course, altcoins are gradually going to increase with the Bitcoin momentum. But I think, then you see the Bitcoin profits flowing into altcoins. And that's where you see that parabolic cycle for altcoins really beginning. So very excited. As of now, history definitely repeating itself. So let's see what happens. Time is the most important thing. But let me know your personal thoughts down below regarding that. But moving forward, look at this. Over 1,700 NDA signal institutional readiness for XRP. Again, these NDAs are not clear, but of course, sheds a little bit of light ask, how much interest there could potentially be. Maybe these big organizations, big entities that are working with XRP Ledger that don't really want to, announce it, really shows you this is not a small number. 1,700 NDAs have been signed. So again, obviously there must be something that is going behind the scenes that, these big entities or, larger organizations or, people that don't really want this information to go public. So let me know your personal thoughts down below regarding this. But huge news, Ripple launches XRP Ledger pilot in Colombia to boost farmer inclusion with Farm Now, Pay Later. The solution traces crops from planting to harvest. Beautiful, use case of blockchain industry and blockchain technology. And this is one of the very few examples, but really want to go over this, shout out to Smoke, why XRP could be the next Bitcoin. The difference between the XRPL and other blockchains networks, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, is that XRPL uses the Federated Byzantine Agreement, FBA, as is its consensus mechanism, which makes its settlement extremely fast. Because of these properties, XRPL is ideal for payments and settlement use cases. XRP has an actual use case. XRP's consensus protocol system is comparatively much more efficient than Bitcoin's proof of work. Ripple is ideally suited for use in trade finance as it was specifically built to support cross-border payments and international transactions. A Bitcoin for banks, if you will. And of course, XRP, the native token plays a key component for the XRP ledger, which a lot of people forget. It's used for liquidity purposes. And of course, as XRP ledger, starts taking over and more institutions start adopting and, looking into it, that use case and of course, the demand for the native token itself increases. So very, very exciting stuff. Let me know down below what you guys think. But look at, what's happening with the dominance index. You guys can see this for yourself. Over the last 4 days, we have started to see, the dominance show strength. I made a joke in my, I think it was a CASPAR or HBAR update. That it's such a coincidence that, I did take a little bit of a break over the last, few days. And since my last update, you started to see the dominance going up, which again is quite funny to me. But dominance has started to show strength, which of course is going to cause a little bit of lag for altcoins. So, this is something that, we don't want to really be taking slightly. And we want to be paying very, very close attention to this. But if you're looking at BTC, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, we're ranging very nicely around this level. So, BTC is looking amazing. Barely any volatility. Of course, we did retest 101,000 a few days back, but you can see, we did push back up to, the level, where we were prior to, this dip. So, Bitcoin is looking amazing right now. If you're looking at XRP, of course, we did finally see that 23.6 fib retest, but once again, never really managed to see the close. If you've been watching my updates over the last few weeks, I was talking about the importance of the 23.6. This is the all-time high territory for myself. And again, we did see a rejection. We've seen several rejections before, pretty much since November. I really want to kind of count as to how many times we actually went above there, which was a rejection. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, finally broke out of here, stayed within that range, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 to 10 different times we have seen a rejection for XRP's price, retesting the 23.6. And if this does not tell you how important this range is, I don't know what will. But we went down to the $2.29 again. This was a major resistance as we were breaking towards the upside. That exact same level plays as a support. And you can see, we are starting to see traction building up once again. If you're looking at it on an hourly perspective, you can see this for yourself. We are in this upward trend still. Of course, a healthy correction, from the 23.6, also dominance picking up, explains why we did see this retracement, but we are starting to pick up, traction once again. So, so far so good, like what I'm seeing here, but very important to, push back up to the 23.6, very, very important. So to, accumulate above. Again, if you want to put this into perspective, it's only a 7.3% move from where we currently are. So we're going to keep you guys covered. Thank you for all your support. If you have not subscribed, or are you waiting for, hit that red subscribe button. We'll see you later in crypto. ZX and peace.